Hey guys, welcome to this video. So really quickly in this video, I'm going to be going over a fake out breakout last wick bounce. I don't know how or why. I think I have set up example videos of this, but I low-key couldn't find them, or they are outdated or something. So whatever, low-key, I'm making another one right now since for some reason I wouldn't have one. But basically, it's a last wick, right? I already know my brain, you guys know last wicks. This is a last wick right here, right? This is a last wick right here. These are last wicks, right? Are they not? This is a last wick, right? You see this wick right here, then it breaks out, then it bounces back up. Maybe it even looks better over here, right? This is a last wick, right? This is the last wick here. I mark it out, right? Say we're trading here, okay? We're trading here, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low, bidder. We break, we bounce, we squeeze this here, we break the 9, at least for this time being. At this point, bidder bounced up to here, that's a bidder. What would I do? I would mark it as a demand zone, right? Of course, right? You guys see, right? Demand zone, right? Demand zone, bidder here. I'm marking a demand zone, right? Then the very next second, it crazily rejects and shuts down and breaks out. It does break out, right? But then a bidder steps up, then scariness, then more choppiness and bouncing, but then it eventually bounces back up to VWAP, but then it does get shut down at BWAP, but then what happens? What's setting up? What's my brain setting up for? What's this? This is this M. It's like this M. It's this M shape it always makes, right? It's a last wick, right? Coming down, comes back down, bearish engulfing. What's my brain preparing for? Last wick here. Very incredibly strong, potentially dangerous last wick bounce here, right? And what happens there? What happens when it dips down to this last wick? What happens, dude? Tell me. Tell me, dude. Dips down to this last wick. Remember, because I was at the last demand zone, we got last wick, a bidder here, last wick, right? Last wick right here. And what happens, dude? What happens? Right? It's always a last wick demand zone, fake out, breakout, they bounce back up, and then kind of a break and brace last wick bounce on that demand zone. Right? Beautiful. Fake out, breakout, last wick demand bounce zone. Right? Last wick, basically. It's a last wick play. And if you longed here, look at this. Look at this bounce and squeeze, dude. On a last wick play. On a last wick play, right? Demand zone, fake out, breakout, bounces back up, comes back to brace and break and base on that last wick right here, dude. 447.81. Dips back down to that perfect last wick. You long, you're rich. You're long, you scale out, you're green, you're rich, dude. So it's always this like M shape. It's like this M fake out, breakout. It's a shape, you know, this specific shape right here, right? Last wick, you gotta notice the wicks though. You gotta notice this last wick here. Sometimes I don't see them or notice them, but notice this last wick here, right? With the eye. Notice this is a wick right here, a last wick, right? To bounce perfectly off of, and I've seen it time and time again. It's a good trade. I wish I was here. I was too busy bill breaker braining to notice it, and instead just got stupidly liquidated, right? So if I just freaking had caught that, if I had just been patient for this last wick, if I had actually seen the chart for what it was and saw this last wick way ahead of time, you know, then would have made some money, right? But anyways, that's that for this video, and yeah, this is a really good yeah, example video, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one, yeah, because I see this left and right like clockwork, dude. I'm even gonna make a little. Yeah. Making a little note real quick. What the heck? Last wick here. Yeah. Here before load. Here we go. Beautiful last wick here. Anyways, yeah, that being said, I think that'll do it for this video, right? And it's usually accompanied by a fake out breakout. That gives us more confidence, right? the bidder, fake out breakout to just fuck with liquidity, and then it dips back down and will last wick off the other last wick, bounce perfectly and go, and then for the short vice versa, right? But I see a lot of last wick bounces, and they play out and they pay, right? I should have taken it today. It really sucks I didn't, but oh well, right? Anyways, I'll see you in the next one.